Hi, so we have an election coming up on Tuesday, and it's very important. Now, all elections are important, but this one feels just a teeny little bit more extra special important. And yet, there are a lot of people out there who still aren't sure whether or not they're even going to vote. So, this message is for them. And that message comes from Dr. Seuss and his great book, Horton Hears a Who. Now, you're probably familiar with it, but just to bring us all up to speed, Horton the elephant, with his big old elephant ears and excellent hearing, has discovered that there is, living on a tiny, tiny dust speck, a whole civilization called the Whos, who live in Whoville, on this little bitty dust speck. And he has put that dust speck on a little clover blossom to protect it. The problem is that nobody but Horton has his ears, and nobody but Horton believes the Whos exist. And all kinds of terrible things happen. So now where we're at, the kangaroo and her posse are about to boil the clover blossom, the dust speck, Whoville, and every Who in it. They're all gonna die, Whoville is doomed, and Horton cries out to his friend, the mayor of Whoville. "You very small persons will not have to die if you make yourselves heard, so come on now and try." The mayor grabbed a tom-tom. He started to smack it. All over Whoville, they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles. They beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots on clarinets, oompas and boompas and flutes. Great gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up through the howling mad hullabaloo, "Hey, Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through?" And Horton called back, "I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong, quite as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every Who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is there anyone shirking?" Through the town rushed the mayor, from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough. All this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mayor discovered one shirker, quite hidden away, in the Fairfax Apartments, apartment 12J, a very small shirker named Jojo was standing, just standing, and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp. And the mayor rushed inside, and he grabbed the young twerp. And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower. "This," cried the mayor, "is your town's darkest hour. The time for all Whos who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country," he said. "We've got to make noises in greater amounts. So open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts." Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat, and he shouted out, "Yopp!" And that yop, that one small extra yop, put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck on that clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean, and the elephants smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons, no matter how small. And their whole world was saved by the smallest of all." So, all you Jojos, get out there and yop.